In the bustling city of Verona during the Renaissance, Alessandra, the daughter of a wealthy merchant, and Lorenzo, a talented young artist from a humble background, found themselves drawn together despite the stark differences in their social standings. Alessandra, with her striking beauty and sharp intellect, often visited Lorenzo's studio under the guise of appreciating art. Secretly, their encounters blossomed into stolen moments of laughter and shared dreams. Their love, though forbidden by societal norms and their family's bitter rivalry, flourished in the shadows of Verona's narrow streets. Their romance ignited during the annual masquerade ball held by the Capulets, a grand event that drew the most distinguished families of Verona. The ballroom was adorned with opulent decorations, and the air was filled with the melodies of a live orchestra. Alessandra, a vision of elegance, donned a mask to conceal her identity. Her mask, intricately designed with gold and silver, added an air of mystery to her already enchanting presence. She moved gracefully through the crowd, her eyes sparkling with excitement and anticipation. Lorenzo, a young nobleman, was captivated by her grace and unaware of her true lineage. He watched her from across the room, mesmerized by her beauty and the way she seemed to float effortlessly across the dance floor. His heart raced as he gathered the courage to approach her. Swept by an irresistible force, Lorenzo took Alessandra's hand and led her into a dance under the moonlit garden. The garden was illuminated by twinkling lights, creating a magical atmosphere that seemed to exist outside of time. For one magical night they danced as if the world around them had ceased to exist. In that enchanted garden they believed love could transcend all barriers. They whispered sweet nothings to each other, shared dreams and hopes. And for a brief moment they felt as if they were the only two people in the universe. The night was filled with laughter, stolen glances, and the promise of a love that could conquer all obstacle. Yet their happiness was fleeting. Upon discovering Alessandra's affair with Lorenzo, her father, driven by pride and fury, forbade her from ever seeing him again. The streets of Verona buzzed with whispers of the scandal, and the tension in the air was palpable. Alessandra's father, a man of high standing and unyielding principles, could not bear the thought of his daughter being involved with someone he deemed unworthy.
"You will never see that boy again, Alessandra. Never!" His voice echoed through the grand halls of their home, each word a dagger to Alessandra's heart. She stood there, tears streaming down her face, unable to comprehend the depth of her father's anger. Her love for Lorenzo was pure and true, but her father's disapproval was an insurmountable barrier.
Meanwhile, Lorenzo's mother, fearing disgrace and ruin, arranged his marriage to a wealthy heiress, hoping to secure their family's future. The weight of societal expectations bore heavily on her shoulders. She knew that a union with a wealthy family could restore their tarnished reputation and bring stability to their household. The opulent attire of the heiress was a stark contrast to the simplicity of Lorenzo's love for Alessandra.
"Lorenzo, you must marry her." The words were spoken with a mix of desperation and determination. Lorenzo's mother had always been a pillar of strength, but now her voice wavered with the weight of the decision she was forcing upon her son. The elegant villa, with its grand architecture, was being prepared for a wedding that Lorenzo's heart was not in. "It's the only way to save us." The room was filled with a tense atmosphere, the faces of family members etched with worry and distress. The darkened room seemed to mirror the bleakness of their situation. Lorenzo felt trapped, torn between his duty to his family and his love for Alessandra. The path laid out before him was clear, but his heart yearned for a different destiny.
Desperate to be together, Alessandra and Lorenzo plotted an escape. They knew their love was forbidden, but their hearts were intertwined in a way that defied all societal norms. They planned to flee Verona, the city that had been both a cradle and a cage for their love. The narrow streets and ancient walls had witnessed their secret meetings and whispered promises. They dreamed of starting anew in a distant land, far from the prying eyes and harsh judgments of their families, a place where their love could flourish without fear of reprisal, where they could build a life together, free from the constraints that had bound them for so long. In this new land, they envisioned a future filled with joy and peace, where every day would be a celebration of their love. They imagined waking up to the sound of birds singing, walking hand in hand through fields of wildflowers and watching the sunset together, their hearts beating as one. On the eve of their departure, the air was thick with anticipation. The twilight cast long shadows in the garden where they met, a place that had become their sanctuary. They met in a secluded garden, their secret haven, where the world outside ceased to exist. Here they could be themselves, free from the masks they wore in public. Their hearts brimming with hope and anticipation, they spoke of their dreams and fears, their hopes and plans. They knew the journey ahead would be fraught with challenges, but their love gave them the strength to face whatever lay ahead. They knew this was their only chance for happiness. With every step they took towards the horizon, they felt the weight of their past lifting, replaced by the promise of a future they would build together. Their love, once hidden in the shadows, was now ready to shine in the light of a new dawn. But fate intervened cruelly that night.
In the shadows, Alessandra's brother, consumed by hatred and seeking to restore the family honor, confronted Lorenzo with a dagger.
In a tragic twist of destiny, Lorenzo, refusing to raise his hand against his beloved's kin, fell victim to the fatal blow meant for Alessandra. Devastated by grief and guilt, Alessandra took her own life beside Lorenzo's lifeless body, unable to bear a world without him. Their deaths shook Verona to its core, uniting their families in sorrow and regret. It was in their sacrifice that the bitter feud finally came to an end, as both houses mourned the loss of their children and the senselessness of their enmity. In death, Alessandra and Lorenzo became a symbol of love's enduring power and the tragic consequences of hatred and pride. Their story, immortalized in the annals of Verona's history, served as a poignant reminder of the fragility of love and the destructive force of feuds that tear lives apart.